This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. Watch unlimited documentaries for free for a month by signing up at the link in the description. Welcome to the bottom of the barrel. Today we're talking about elevators. This is the Shanghai Tower, the second tallest building in the world behind the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Now, building tall buildings is a bit of a rooster measuring contest, and nowhere likes flaunting their flightless birds more than China and the UAE. The Shanghai Tower, which cost $2.5 billion to build, stretches to over 2,000 feet or 600 meters and has 127 stories. As a point of comparison, if you put 8 747s on top of each other, the Shanghai Tower would still be taller, mostly because, according to my engineering degree, that's not a structurally sound building. Now, part of the difficulty in having buildings this tall is that people, who mostly come from the ground, need to get to the top of the building quickly. If people can't get to the top of the building easily and quickly, they won't want to buy property in the building, which I'm told is a pretty important aspect to profitability. Therefore, for super tall buildings such as this, a ton of money and time is put into designing, as they pretentiously call it, their vertical transportation system. For the Shanghai Tower, this was so important that its designers hired a company, the Edgett Williams Consulting Group, to design their system. To be clear, these guys weren't designing the elevators themselves, they bought those from other companies, they were designing the system of elevators. Now, you might think that you could just have a bunch of very long elevators like any other building, but if you think that, you'd be wrong and you should feel bad. Here's why. Let's say there's an 11-story building where there's a lobby and then 10 floors which each have one resident. Now, 10 people need to travel from the lobby to the first floor because everybody lives above the lobby. But then from the first to second floor, only 9 people need to travel because only 9 people live above the first floor, only 8 people live above the second floor, etc, 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 and only 1 person lives above the 9th. The problem though is that with a traditional elevator system, you have to build the elevator, which goes up the whole height of the building, to have exactly enough capacity to transport exactly as many people travel between the lobby and the first floor, even though when that elevator gets to the top, it only needs enough capacity to handle 1 person. For shorter buildings, it's just simpler to have one elevator system running to each floor. While it's less efficient from a space perspective, it saves a lot of time. For taller buildings though, the problem is that a lot of people fit in the building and therefore you need a lot of capacity. With each additional floor in the building, you need more elevator capacity and therefore more elevators, which generally need 1 shaft each, and so by building an additional floor, you actually remove overall usable floor space from the building based off the space the additional elevator shaft takes up on all the floors. Based off this principle, there's a theoretical limit to how tall traditionally shaped skyscrapers can be, since, at certain heights and capacities, the space needed for the elevators would be greater than the horizontal space of the tower itself. As alpha as an all-elevator building sounds, it's, again, not good for profitability, unless it was like an amusement park for all those elevator enthusiast YouTubers. For all these reasons, most super tall buildings use a different method of elevators. Taking the elevator in these buildings is almost like taking the subway, which is fair considering that the Burj Khalifa is taller than the shortest subway line in New York, the 42nd Street Shuttle, is long. Unlike the New York subway though, the elevators aren't whiz-flavored. How it works in the case of the Shanghai Tower, for example, is that there are 5 sky lobbies, as they're called, spread out throughout the tower. From the ground lobby, 1 set of elevators will go directly to the first, then 1 directly to the second, 1 to the third, to the 4th, and 5th. From there, people will transfer onto a local elevator that can take them to the exact floor they want between the 2 sky lobbies. That way, there are only a few elevators at the top where not many are needed, thereby saving space, and you can also have 2 elevators in 1 shaft, the express one and the local one. Now, you might wonder, why not just have sets of elevators that travel direct from the ground floor up to each sky lobby and then switch to local after that? Well, it's because not all elevators are created equal. The express elevators are double-decker, meaning in the same shaft they have double the capacity and they're super fast. The local elevators, on the other hand, are just fairly normal elevators. Now for the titular question. Like any good super tall building, the Shanghai Tower has an observation deck so you can pay to look down on the plebs. In fact, this is the highest observation deck in the world, but to get to it, you wouldn't want all the tourists to have to deal with sky lobbies and local elevators and all that confusion, because tourists are known for their limited intellectual ability. Therefore, there are 3 elevators going directly from the ground floor all the way to the 121st floor, a distance of 1,898 feet or 579 meters. That's record number 1. It's the furthest traveling single elevator in the world. Record number 2 is that this is the fastest elevator in the world. It gets people from the ground to the 121st floor in only 55 seconds. That's a speed of 40 miles or 65 kilometers per hour. On the way down though, the elevator only goes a measly 22 miles or 36 kilometers per hour. The reason? Any faster and it would be uncomfortable as people couldn't equalize their ears fast enough. Of course, the reason these are so fast, in addition to just the prestige of having the record, is to save room. You can either have one elevator that makes the trip in 55 seconds, or two that make it in 110. Now that you've learned absolutely everything there ever is to know about the second tallest building in the world, you probably want to learn more about the tallest building, the Burj Khalifa. Luckily, you can do so for free by watching this great documentary on CuriosityStream. This documentary gives a unique glimpse into the lives of those that live and work in this vertical city. CuriosityStream, meanwhile, is of course that great website where you can watch any of more than 2,400 documentaries for free on pretty much any device you want. Better yet, by going to curiositystream.com/HAI and using the code HAI, you can watch for free for a month.